has recommended closing Wootton High School and relocating the entire Wootton community to the Crown site, a decision with major implications for students, families, and long-term planning for Wootton and other clusters. Can you walk us through whether you support this recommendation and, more importantly, the specific reasons and data that informed your position? So again, the question is, can you walk us through whether you support this recommendation and, more importantly, the specific reasons and data that inform your position? And we will start with, we'll do Evan Glass, if you want to start first. And then we can just continue down from there.
Great. Thank you.
Still working on it.
It's on? There it is. Good. Big question of the night, right? How did we get here? The fact is, I've been on the council for 2 terms, and I have fully supported the nearly, and I'm looking at my notes here, the nearly $219 million that we appropriated for Crown High School to be a community school in Gaithersburg. And then, as the boundary studies were moving forward, various options were put on the table. And on December 1st, 5 options were put on the table. Then on February 5th, modified option H was put on the table and immediately became the option that the superintendent wanted. And here we are on February 24th. Quite frankly, I think option H stands for hastily done. And on the council, I have provided the most strenuous level of oversight, making sure that the tough questions are asked because the county executive has not asked them, and because the school board has historically gone along with the multiple superintendents who've been there. The system is not working. And when I'm county executive, as I said 2 answers ago, I'm not going to rubber stamp the budget. I'm going to make sure that the money we provide, your taxpayer dollars, goes for the projects that it was intended to, not some last minute change that has been 3 weeks out. I don't think it serves our public conversation. I don't think it serves the public trust when changes like this are hastily done. So I have serious concerns with the process, because in our school system, in the $3.6 billion that we have to restore trust to make sure that every school community and every child gets the best education possible.
Hello, thank you. So you all have been advocating ferociously, and I really appreciate it. You should do that. That's where I want to start. You got until March 26th until the board makes the decision. I think it's really important to underscore that the board will make the decision. No one up here has anything to do with it, by law at all. But can we advocate? Can we say what we think? Sure. But the board is where that decision is going to be made. It's their authority under state law to set boundaries for schools. I was zoned to Blair in 1996 when that shift happened. And I'm telling you, I'm like having deja vu. People were pissed off, just to be frank, to use a technical term. And what I'm going to say to you is that it was done too fast. I was here in this building with some of you where we went through A, B, C, D, and E, and we were walking around the charrettes, and everyone was looking. It was all, and all that. I've been at several of those. H came quickly and without the same level of being able to kick those tires, and that's not right. That being said, there are serious funding issues with the CIP. I proposed an amendment last week to raise our bond limit so that we could have more money to do more, like fix Wootton. I'm the only one up here that voted for that. Others voted against it. It's very easy to say I'm against something, but you're not willing to do what's necessary to actually raise the funding to change the outcome. And I think that's something we need to focus on too. But you keep advocating. You got until March 26th. Thank you.
Yes, Yeah, so as I mentioned in my introduction, I'll just quickly reiterate. So this community has spent 56 years building a legacy of excellence, as evidenced by Wootton High School being one of the top 3 schools in Maryland with a remarkable 98% graduation rate. Compare that to the rest of the school system, where we're seeing a 5-year low in high school graduation rates, right? So I think Wootton community has really demonstrated the values that we want to restore in MCPS's entire system. And so instead of dismantling that, I think we should use this school and this community to really understand how are you able to perform so much higher than the rest of the system, and then be able to replicate that in the rest of our system so we can help our low-income families. We can help our Black and brown kids that are currently being left behind, where their proficiency and literacy rates are below acceptable, where we can help our EML students. So a lot of it for me, how I arrived at my decision was, if the school system is doing what they're supposed to do, which we are an education system, we leave you guys alone. We give you what you need, and we help you get to the next level, and we keep you happy. And so to me, disrupting everything that you've built and you've shown and demonstrated that you're able to accomplish doesn't seem fair, and it's not appropriate.
Thank you. So first of all, I will not support the boundaries studies. You know why? Because there is bad data. Anybody, as an engineer, I can tell you that people have invested in this community. They purchase housing, okay? Now they want to shut down the school. And what will happen? That will affect your house prices, because you will not have enough school in the surrounding area. And then you have to go to another place, take your school as well as your kids, another place. And why the community's voice is not heard by the superintendent? You know why? He's making $360,000 a year. Governor makes $184,000. And when I had an interview with the teachers union, they're supporting the salary. I'm like, why? Because their excuse is that if you go in a private service, $3.65 billion, they make $500,000, so he's making less. I said, then Governor Westmore is dealing $67 to $70 billion, so why he's making $184,000? You're making double than the governor. That has to change. That's where the money is not there. I have a list of more than 100 people, MCPS and Montgomery County making $300,000. They're sending people to Mars. I didn't check last time. I didn't see that anybody. And also the county council members, they're making $167,000. More than the lieutenant governor, my Facebook friend Aruna Miller, she makes $165,000. They're managing a county making $167,000. That makes no sense. The greed has to stop. These people are in the office for last 8 years, and they are still talking about affordability. Why now, and what will they can do now? Nothing. They need change. Thank you.
I don't support it. I put out a statement. I was the first person to put out a public statement. Any of the people up here to say that I don't support. I'm concerned about the data, and I'm concerned about the process. This has been a very challenging dynamic, which really does undermine our relationships with our municipal governments, both in Rockville and in Gaithersburg, from my perspective, with businesses who are making investment decisions and with families. All of these things are impacted by the decisions that are being made. And so while we don't have a direct vote, the Board of Education does on these issues, we do have a stake in the decisions that are being made. The idea of permanently closing a school and relocating it to another site, or using a brand new school that costs over $200 million to build, that was gifted by a municipal government in Gaithersburg for the purpose of the benefit of the community in Gaithersburg, to use that as a permanent holding school. These were two proposals that came abruptly out of nowhere, that were not part of the original scope of what you were being asked to weigh in on. That is not the way that the process is supposed to work. That is not a healthy, constructive, and productive way to address these issues. I've had lots of conversations with many of you, with Councilmember Adam Van Grack, who's endorsed our campaign, with many of you even yesterday when I was here with you to advocate for your community I hope that you'll continue that advocacy. I share your frustration and your concerns. I will continue to push for a data-driven approach and a process that is reflective and respecting of the community, and I will continue to push for that and work with you to do it. And I'll just note lastly, last night we found out $100 million would be used to bring this building up to the standard where Magruder could use it as a holding school. So if $100 million is going to become available in order to get this building up to a standard that another school cluster could use, there is a reasonable question that needs to be answered among many reasonable questions of why wouldn't that $100 million be used to get it up to standards for this community.